Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Just Daf It. Today is today's Daf. Daf Samech number 60. A great share for you today. We're going to be talking about mothers who are nursing. How long you got to nurse for? Can you stop nursing to get married? Or can you get married while you're nursing? Meaning, obviously, your husband died or you got divorced. Doesn't say about getting divorced, but presumably it means the same thing. I'll talk more on Ian Ben C on the Ian share about halacha l'maisa. A little controversial halacha over here as paskin. It's not so clear what the halacha is from the Gemara. If the husband were to die and the mother is nursing during her first 15, 18, 24 months, she'll have to remarry and get engaged. What is the halacha l'maisa? Talk about that more in Ian with Ben Zion. The last words on Nuntan Beis Mahem Akira, 2 dots, top of Samach Med Aleph, out comma, right? Mishnah says the child recognizes the mother, and she has to, even after they got divorced, right? So the husband, she has to keep on nursing the child, even though she's no longer married to the husband. One of the malachas, one of the things that a woman has to do for her husband is nurse the child. If they're no longer married, she's not responsible to nurse the child. However, if the child already recognizes her and presumably will not nurse from a different woman, it's dangerous for her to nurse from nobody because it's healthy for a baby to get mother's milk. Therefore, the husband has to pay her to nurse the child because it's, when she was married, did it for free. That's one of her obligations to her husband. No longer married, she has to do it, but he has to pay for it. At comma, until how long does it take for the child to recognize his mother? Amarav Yirmiyah Barabba, Amarav Shlosha Chadashim. She has to have nursed from 3 months. Once she nurses 3 months, she recognizes the mother. Shmuel Amar Shloshim Yom. Even if the gerushin happen after 30 days, that's enough. Rabbi Yitzchak Amar Rabbi Yochanan Chamishim Yom. He says 50 days. Amarav Simi Barabba Halacha Rabbi Yitzchak Amar Shem Rabbi Yochanan. He says halacha follows Rabbi Yochanan. Mishlam Marab Rabbi Yochanan Kol Chad V'Chad Ki Chorpei. The opinion says 50 days. The opinion says 3 months. Right? Some children are more mentally astute. They'll recognize after 50 days. Some take 3 months. Elul Shmuel, it's only 30 days. A 30-year-old baby, 1-year-old baby, they recognize their mother. Don't listen to these Piskei Halacha that my brother Yehuda said, B'Shmei the Shmuel. Hachi Amar Shmuel. Shmuel didn't really mean 30 days. Calls man shemakira. He meant to say, as long as he's makira, meaning there's a different way of evaluating whether the child recognizes his mother, not a specific amount of time. What is that? Ahid Asla Kamei the Shmuel came in front of Shmuel, a woman. Amar Leir Adimi, Mar Yosef Zil Batka. Check her. Check the child if the child recognizes the mother. Azal Osva Bidari Dinashe. He took him down to the to the precinct, and they had a lineup of women over there, and Shakli the Bara Kamahadila Alayu. He was putting each child in the lap of these women, 10 women. One of them was the mother. When he came to the actual mother, he was looking at the mother's face. So when he saw this, he said, the mother, when she saw this, she wanted to look down. She wanted to avoid the eye contact because she didn't want the responsibility to nurse the child. It was a child from her ex-husband, so she didn't want anything to do with him. He says, pick up your eyes, come take your child, and nurse him. You have to nurse him, and the husband has to pay it. The ex-husband has to pay for it. A blind person, a blind child, can't see as he recognizes the mother. He smells her, She wears a nice perfume. When she nurses, a certain taste he has in the milk. That is the way of evaluating whether the child recognizes the mother or not. Child can nurse up till 24 months. Mikan, Ve'ilach yonek sheketz. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer, the Gemara seems to apply the milk is not kosher after 24 months. Mother's milk. Rishua Omer, Afil Arba Chavim, a child can even nurse 4 or 5 years. Piresh, La'achar Esrim Arba Chodesh. Let's say he nursed for 24 months and then he stopped nursing. We'll see the Gemara will explain how long he stopped nursing. Over Chazar, they went back. The child can yonek sheketz. Then even Rabbi Shua agrees the milk is not kosher. Amar Mar, Mikan Ve'ilach yonek sheketz. Raisa says it's like he's eating a sheketz, baby. Now, even though we know that a child is not have to keep the Torah until he's 13 years old. However, you can't feed a child isurim. Now we learned the Gemara in Yevamos on Daf It. You can't machilim. You can't force a child, even a little baby, to do an isser. So when you nurse the child, in a case where the mother's milk would be like not kosher milk, so then it would be a problem. So the Gemara has a problem with saying that it's not kosher. Raminuhu, Yachal Yeheya, Mikan ve'elach, Hamar Mikan ve'elach Yonek Sheketz. Raminuhu, Bryce says otherwise, Yachal Yechalav Mahalche Shtayim Tame. You might think that milk of Mahalche Shtayim, people that walk on two legs, human beings. There are other animals that walk on two legs, a penguin. I don't know. Anyway, it's not human beings. You might think the milk of a mother's milk should be tummy, not kosher. V'dinu ma behema shekalta b'magha. Right? If an animal dies, right, there's no isser to become tummy from it. There's no tuma generated by a dead animal. Echmarta b'chalva, right? A non-kosher animal, you can't eat its milk. Adam shechmarta b'magho. Any person who dies, right, he conveys tuma, corpse tuma. And then shetachmir b'chalva. Certainly, the milk that comes from a human being should be more chomer than an animal. Talmud Lomar et hagamal kimala geruhu. When it comes to the kashrus, it says the gamal, right, a camel kimala geruhu. It has one of the siman of kashrus that chooses cut. You can't eat a camel for different reason. Hu tameh. It says who tameh. The camel is tameh because even though it chews its cud, but it doesn't have split hooves. Hu tameh ve'ein chalav mahal chishtayim tameh. Human milk is not kosher. It's kosher. Elator, it's kosher. Yachal otias achalav sheino shav v'kol. You might think, right, the milk is kosher because there are some animals that the milk is kosher. Kosher animals, a cow produces, a goat, they produce kosher milk. Lozias hadam. I shouldn't exclude blood. Shu shav v'kol. Right, that is more stringent. Where the blood of any animal is also Talmud Lomar. Who? The Brisa really is saying who. It includes not just milk but blood also. Who tameh? Right, the meat of a camel is tameh. Ein chol dam mahalche shtayim tameh alatar. With the exception, the blood of human beings is kosher, along with the milk. Right, the Brisa basically says the milk of human beings and the blood of human beings is not usher, even though by animals it is usher. Even midrabanan, the Rabbanan didn't say that you have to be careful not to consume blood or milk of human beings. Lo kasha. Had the parish, had the low parish. Where it says a distinction, right? We said milk, human milk, mother's milk could actually become not kosher, according to Rebbe Lezer after 2 years, according to Yeshua after 4 or 5 years. That's talking about the parish, meaning where the low parish. Where where the child is nursing from the breast of the mother. The parish, however, if the mother would use a pump and pump milk out and put it in a cup, that would be okay. The chilufa badam, and it's the opposite by blood. Because right? If sometimes you have blood in your teeth and you eat an apple, you eat a piece of bread and you see the blood, go rova ochel, you have to take off the blood and eat the rest of the bread. Shebein hashinayim, however, if you have blood in your teeth, even if you go in the mirror, you see it in your teeth, but you really can't see it outside your mouth, right? It's on your fingers, on the bread. Motzah soveino choshesh, you can suck it up, lick it, you can suck it from your teeth and drink it. That's okay. So it seems to be on a deraisa level, all mother's milk is kosher, all blood is kosher. Midrabanan there goes there by nursing after 24 months or after 4 or 5 years from a mother, and blood that came midrabanan came on a piece of bread. That's also midrabanan. The Rishonim say the reason they made it gzera derabanan is because there is an isser of eating human flesh. You're a cannibal. To cook another human being. This is the Gemara the Rishonim talk about. The Gemara doesn't address this, but the Rishonim talk about it. It's actually a through machlokas whether being a cannibal is okay according to the Torah. One opinion it says asumi daraisa, another opinion asumi darabanan, and some say it's actually mutter. If it's mutter, you have a different explanation. It's gzera darabanan, but The predominant opinion is that it's at least aser, at least maybe the rabbanon, maybe in this essay, and therefore they made exer the rabbanon when it was like animal flesh. You suck um, from the mother's breast, so that's that's like the breast. That's like the flesh of the mother. And when you see blood on an apple or something like that, or a piece of bread, so they're also, to eat other milk is like extracting. Uh, you would eat a cannibal would eat something outside of his mouth, inside his mouth, right? There is no other human flesh. Not eating your own human flesh is okay. I mean, technically, but eating another human's flesh has to come from outside, right? So also, breastfeeding, it's like taking another human's flesh. That's why they make exer abundant. Amar Mar, Rabbi Yeshua Omer, afilu arba v'chamesh shanim, even 4 or 5 years, the child could drink the milk. Atanya Rabbi Yeshua Omer, afilu chavilasak seifo. He says even if a bundle, the child is old enough to be holding his knapsack, right? Right, holding his knapsack sounds like even older. And it says idi v'idi chad shiuruhu. It's the same shear. 4 or 5 years is when he's able to hold a full knapsack. A small knapsack. My children, 3-4 years old, they have a knapsack with nothing in there. Basically, their water bottle and a snack, cucumbers and like some crackers, a sandwich. Full knapsack, 4 or 5 year old. They're going to kindergarten already. Then they got all those workbooks already. Then that's old enough. They have to stop drinking the mother's milk. I'm Rabbi Yosef, halacha Rabbi Yeshua, halacha Rabbi Yeshua. We give 4 or 5 years. Tanya Rabbi Marinos Omer, goneach yonik cholov b'Shabbos. Goneach, someone who's screaming out in pain. There's a lot of pain. Can nurse milk on Shabbos. My time. Yonik mafar klach yadu v'makom sar l'gaz rabban. Now, the Gemara, the Rishonim say goneach is referring to a man. A man, he has chest pains. He has pains in his lung. So he's allowed to nurse milk from a cow, from a woman. To me, it seems obvious the Gemara is talking about the prevalent type of case, which is a woman who has not been able to nurse her child for a while, and it's Shabbos now, and she has pain in her breast that she has to let out some milk. This is very common with women who are breastfeeding. So she's goneach, she's in a lot of pain. So then she can nurse on Shabbos. Mefare klach hayadu. Meaning of course the child can nurse, she's not doing anything. We're talking about the pump on Shabbos. Right, you let a pump on Shabbos, probably wouldn't be allowed to pump with one of those electric pumps. You can't use electricity on Shabbos, apparently. I'll have to talk about that at a different time, but assuming you can't use electricity on Shabbos, but to use a hand pump or something like that, you're allowed to do on Shabbos, even though it's not coming directly into the baby's mouth. My time yonik marak yadu, right? Yonik here is mefarik yad, taking pumping milk out of the breast is not really mefarik. Mefarik is a malacha where you take something out of its shell to eat it. It's not exactly the same thing taking milk out of a breast. It's done with a shinoi, not makom sara. The woman's in pain. Lagazra arbanan. Amar Yosef halacha reimernes halacha reimer. Tanya nacham ishgalia. Omer sino shalabach kaskas and umachan v'raglo b'tzina b'Shabbos. If you have a pipe or you have one of these gutters, you have a gutter in your house, right, on your roof to allow the rainwater to run off, right? Let's say it got clogged up with leaves or something like that. You can go, even on Shabbos, climb on your roof and remove it with your foot. The Shabbos, my time is sakin kalach because you're doing it with your foot. It's done in a not regular way. So even though you're fixing something, you're fixing the sinor because now it can't work. You can't remove the rain. The gutter can't remove the rain with the leaves inside. You're allowed to do that. Malcolm say to Lagazra Rabban, if you don't do this on Shabbos, right? So it's gonna ruin your roof. It'll eventually, the water will gather on your roof, and it will cause eventually a leak in your roof. Even if it's not directly that Shabbos, but eventually over time, it will weaken your roof. So therefore, you're allowed to do it. My time, Malcolm say Lagazra Rabbanon. There weren't gozer and Malcolm have said Mammon. Amar Rav Yosef Halacha Kanacham Ishgali Lacha follows. Nachum Ishgali appears Lachar Esther Ma'ar Chodesh Chazer V'Yom Konek Sheket. Rabbi Yeshua's opinion was, it's not until 4 or 5 years the child has the ability to nurse from his mother. After that, it's considered not kosher milk midrabanan if they're nursing directly from the mother of a comma. But he said that if you, after 24 months of nursing, the child stops, then he goes back, then even he agrees it's like it's asr min rabbanan. But comma Amar Rav, how long does the child have to stop and go back? Amar Rav Yehuda bar Chavi Amar Shmuel shalosh yamim. If he stops for 3 days, he can't go back. Ikad Amri. Alternatively, Tani Rav Yehuda bar Chavi Chmei the Shmuel shalosh yamim. He tore on a Bryce in the name of Shmuel 3 days. Tana Rabbanan, a new Allah. I mean, that gets Shemei's Baila. She's nursing, and her husband dies. Within 24 months of the birth of the child. And like it says by Avram and Yitzchak, after 24 months he weaned his child. 24 months is generally the accepted amount of time that is healthy for a child to nurse in the mother. After that, generally children are weaned off their mothers. So she needs to be not married or not even engaged to someone else for 24 months, the first 24 months of her nursing. She can't even get engaged, let alone married. The reason she can't get married is because she might have a child with the next husband. In which case, everyone knows when a woman becomes pregnant and she's nursing, she loses the milk, or she loses most of the milk, and she's no longer able to nurse her child. Now, obviously, if she remains married to a man, she can have another child within 24 months, because even if she has another child, she has her husband who's supporting her, who will buy baby formula for the child that now can't nurse. However, for a child that doesn't belong to it's a child from her previous husband, there's no guarantee he's going to buy baby formula for the child. So therefore, you have to wait 24 months, which is generally the time where a baby can be weaned. The top of Samach Beis, he allows, after 18 months have elapsed, she already can get engaged. The reason engaged is because even after engagement, you learn with the rice that technically you're allowed to have bia. So they're abundant and they're a gozer, but it's possible that you'll be together and have a child. Amar Rebbe Nasan Bar Yosef, Heinen Divrei Beit Shammai. These are words of Beit Shammai. Heinen Divrei Beis Hillel. The same machlokus in Ramei Rehuda is machlokus between Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel. Beit Shammai Omrim Mesher Arba Chodesh. Shammai says 24 months. Beit Hillel Omrim Shmona Asar Chodesh. They say 18 months. Amar Shimon Gamliel Ani Achriya. I'll decide the halacha. Al Divrei Omer Esrim Arba Chodesh. Mutar Sinasei Be'Esrim Echad Chodesh. According to the Machmer opinion, it's not Lav Dafka 24 months. It's really 21 months. L'divrei ha'omer b'shmona asar chodesh. The Mekel one, Yehuda Beis Hillel, say 18 months. Mutar l'sinastem b'chamish asar chodesh. L'fisha ein achalav nekar el la'achar shlosha chadash. Even technically, she gets married after 15 months, right? And she becomes pregnant right away in the first night. It takes 3 months after, she has the fetus in her womb. In order for the milk to dry out, so therefore it'll be 18 months, and 18 months is a good amount of time to be able to have mother's milk. Amar Ula, halacha Yehuda, halacha Yehuda, Amar Marukva Li Rabbi Chanina. Rabbi Chanina allowed milasis la'achar chamisha sar chodesh, like the psak of Rabbi Gamliel. After 15 months, Arisei da Abaye, the sharecropper of Abaye, Asa Klamei da Abaye. You can remember Abaye. Amar Le Maoli Aretz b'chamisha sar chodesh. Can I do this? Right? Can I marry this woman? Her husband died 15 months ago. Or she's within 15 months of, after 15 months of her child. I mean, the husband could have passed away, I don't know, after 7 months, and now you're waiting another after 12 months, and now you're waiting another 3 months, whatever, or 7 months, and then waiting another 8 months. After 15 months after the baby was born, can I get married to her? Amar Lei Chad the Ramei Yehuda. Generally, when Ramei and Yehuda have machlokas, Father Yehuda, who's Mekel over here. Go Beit Shammai Beis Hillel, Lacha Beis Hillel, Beit Shammai Beis Hillel, Machlokas, Paskan Beis Hillel. Both of them say 18 months. Amar Ula, Lacha Rabbi Yehuda. Ula said also, Lacha Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Marukva Li to Rabbi Chanina. Marukva added, Rabbi Chanina allowed him Laseis Lacha Chamisha Sachodesh to get married after 15 months. Kolshkein Da'at La'aris. Certainly you are only asking to get engaged, right? Not even to get married. If marrying his mother, so to Eros and his mother. He asked him to Rabbi Yosef. When he came from Rabbi Yosef, who was his Rebbe, Abai came from Rabbi Yosef. Amar Le Rabbi Shmuel Damit Ravai Strichla Hamten Eshem Chodesh. Abai, how can you be so makel in your psak halacha? Right? Rav and Shmuel said you have to wait 24 months. Right? The baby has to be able to nurse for 24 months. We're very machmer over here that you should calculate 24 months. Do not take the day. Do not include the day where the child is born, and not the day when the eris sinned. So it has to be child was born, and you count 24 months, and then you can get eris. Couldn't get engaged the day afterwards. Sounds pretty machmer. Rod basrei tlosa parsi v'amila parsi b'chal v'lo adrachei. Abaye, after healing his Rebbe, told him he got the psak wrong. He allowed after 15 months. His Rebbe said you got to wait a full 24 months. He ran after him 23 parsos. A parsa is 4 miles apparently, 4 kilometers. So 12 kilometers, which is approximately, I don't know, about 8 miles. Some say it was 4 mil or 3 miles in the sand on the beach. This is obviously a metaphor. It doesn't exactly mean this. He could not reach him, meaning what he tried to do, meaning, well, I have to explain this more in Eagles Ben Sion because it's a very strange Gemara. He ran after him in the sand, or were they going on the beach, playing beach volleyball? I don't know. Amar Abai, Hamil Sadamar Rabbanan, that which the Rabbanan said, I feel Biasa Bekuska, Lishri Yinish Makam Rabbi. When you're in the place of your Rebbe, the city of your Rebbe, you should, and you're a rabbi also, you shouldn't allow, even if someone asks you a simple question, it's an obvious answer. Can I eat an egg with milk? Kudcha is a dip made out of milk. Now, an egg, the reason maybe you'd be machmir is an egg comes from a chicken. Chicken, midrabanan, you can't eat with milk, but here's an egg that you buy in the store. Eggs do not have the din of meat, of basar. He asked you, can I eat it with milk? You shouldn't allow him to do it. Makom rabbi. Obviously, the rabbi, his rebbe, obviously, sounds like the rebbe, meaning, if his rebbe's a real rebbe, his rebbe would have mattered it. It sounds like the rebbe answered it. So maybe the pshat is, most people would say the pshat is that even before he asked the Rebbe, you shouldn't do that. But then the rest of the Gemara wouldn't say. It's not because when you rule, even on a very, obvious question, you give a psak halacha because you're mavaza your rav, you're disgracing your rabbi, you're treating your Rebbe like hefker. Elam mishum lo mistaya milsa lememra, because it's not going to help what you're going to say. So it sounds like his rabbi actually said it's usher. His rabbi said, a crazy rabbi. Rabbi said, no, milk and eggs and milk are usher. Now, I mean, how could the Rebbe answer milk and eggs? Now, everyone knows milk and eggs. If he's a real rabbi, how could he even answer it? I'm thinking now, like, milk, eggs, like, what are we talking about here? I think we're talking about the difference between a vegetarian and a vegan. That's what I have to say. A vegetarian, they won't eat meat, they won't eat poultry, they won't eat fish, but they'll eat eggs, they'll eat milk, which are products that come from animals. A vegan won't eat any products that come from an animal. So that's what the rabbi said. The rabbi said, you got to be a vegan, right? And he's telling, no, it's okay, just be a vegetarian, or you don't have to even be a vegetarian anyway. Bishop de Lomistaya Milsa Lememra. It's not going to help what you're going to say. I had learned, right? I had learned what Rav and Shmuel said, right? And I thought Rav and Shmuel said after 15 months you're allowed to get married. It didn't help. This Gemara is very confusing. It doesn't seem to make any sense. There's a lot of problems with the Gemara. First of all, like I explained, how could the Rebbe make a mistake about this? What does that mean? He chased after him in the sand. Why should it be? If your Rebbe makes such a big mistake like that you have to follow him, and no one's gonna listen to you? I have to explain this Gemara. It's very important. It's halacha l'maisa. It happens a lot. A woman's husband will die when she still has a young child and she's still nursing. How long she wants to get remarried? She has to wait full 24 months since the birth of the child. Seems like a pretty big chumrah. How about it's within the 15 months or 24 months? So she gave her son to a wet nurse to nurse the child, or she herself stopped nursing the child. Sometimes women don't want to nurse their child, or the child died, right? She doesn't have to nurse him anymore. Logically, like the Bryce says, in all three cases, she can get married right away. Rav Papa, Rav Huda, Rav Yeshua, Savar Mevet Uvdaki Hamasnisa. They had this Mishnah, this Bryce. They wanted to issue a ruling based on this Bryce. Amarlu Hahi Savda, a certain elderly woman said to them, "Did he have a Uvda Asli Rav Nachman?" I had to follow the same case happened to me. Rav Nachman said, "You can't get remarried anyway, right away." Aini, is this true? Rav Nachman Shar Luhu Reish Galusa. He gave the psak halacha for the mayor of the town, allowed the wife to get remarried right away. No, because the wet nurse, when she gets the contract with the mayor, she's not going to void her contract, so it never go back to the situation where you'll need the mother anymore. I have another proof that you shouldn't listen to this price. Mahadasanya, Haresh Aisa Redufa Leila Chabesa Avia. You have a woman that she gets married. Sometimes women they can't leave their parents. They just are stuck home at their parents' house. Shaisa Casa Base Baila. They got into a fight with her husband. She's not living by her husband anymore. Shaya Bala Chalash Base Asurin. Husband's in jail. Shalach Bala Ninas Hayam. Her husband went overseas on business. Shaya Bala Zaki. He's an old man. He has a cane, a cholda. He's very sick. Shaisa Kara. Vizakena, or she is barren, or Zakena, an old islandess, Viktana. She can't have islandess, can't have children. Viktana. She's a young girl. She's incapable of getting pregnant. Apeles, she had Achar Mises Bailo, her husband died, and whatever, she was pregnant. Her husband left her pregnant, but then she had a miscarriage. Ain't a rule or any other reason she can't have children. Kulan Srichas Hampton Shalosh Chadash and Divrei Meir, right? The Gemara is in Yevamos that a woman has to wait 3 months after her husband dies to clarify if she has a child after marrying the second husband. Whose child was it? Was it the child from the first husband or the second husband? You wait 3 months, so then obviously, even if it's a child at 6 months old baby, you're going to assume it's the second husband, not the first husband, because right, 6 month old baby, we assume it's going to be. If you don't wait 3 months, then it could be either husband. But if you wait 3 months, so then we'll know that we'll know which husband it came from. So, so in all these cases, the Gemara in Yevamos says, in order to distinguish between which father it came from, so you have to wait 3 months. Even in all these cases where it's not possible for them to have a child, she's not living with her husband. Her husband's in jail or he's sick. They're not having marital relations. They're not together. You have to wait 3 months, regardless. Different mayor. Mayor is a low plug. The Rabbanan didn't make any distinctions whether it's applicable, whether the reason applies or not. Yossi says in these cases where it's impossible to have a child, you can get married right away because we know it's from the second husband. Or machmer over there. So for machmer over there, we say a low plug over here. Also over here, when it comes to meinekes where she's nursing, we should make a low plug. Even if the child dies or she gives the child to a wet nurse, or she decides to stop nursing, we should possibly make a low plug, and she'd have to wait 24 months seemingly. Amrulay Lava Daitin. He said, "Yeah, you're right. I just forgot about that. Allah." So the Gemara paskins, if the child actually died mutter, we don't make a low plug. Also, if she decided to not nurse anymore, she can't get married right away until 24 months. Remember Rashi Amar Afilu Meis Nam Yasser. Even if the child died, it's also Asr Dilma Katal, because we're concerned that she'll kill the child in order to get remarried. Just like the reason that if she decides to stop nursing, we assume that really the child needs it. She wants to nurse. The child needs to nurse, but she's stopping to nurse on purpose to get remarried. She's doing a trick. But maybe also if the child dies, she'll kill the child. She Dilma Katal Leva Azo Mitzvah. Hava Uvda V'Chanakte. There was actually an incident where she choked her child to death to get remarried. Velohi. You can't bring a proof from there. He showed Davai. She was a crazy lady. Nashi the Chankin Banayu. Regular women don't choke their children. They have Rahmanas on their children. If they gave her a child to nurse, a wet nurse, to give her a child to nurse, she's getting paid to nurse a child. She's not allowed contractually. This is Dine Mamis to nurse along with this other child, her own son, and certainly not her friend's son. Paska Kima Ochelas Harbe, if they had a contract, you nurse my child, I'll pay you, I don't know, $100 a day. And I have to give you some nourishment, some food, so you'll have milk. You'll only give her a little bit of food. Ochelas Harbe, she should still eat a lot of food. She should have a lot of milk. Lo Tochal Imo Dvorim, she should also not eat Roim Lechalav, things which are bad for milk. So the Gemara immediately asks on the Bryce, Hashta B'Noah Mart, right? She can't nurse her son, lo, Bein Chaver Tamibai. Of course, she's not going to be able to nurse someone she doesn't care about, her friend's son. Well, the same, but B'Noah the Chayis Lave Mamsila Tfei. Now, maybe you'll think she can't nurse her son along with this, this child that she's getting paid to nurse because she loves her son and she's going to, advantageously for her son, provide more milk for him so that her contract will be, she'll ruin her contract. But Ben Chaverta, it's her friend's child. She doesn't really care much about him, so it must be the only reason she's nursing him she realized she has extra milk, and it wouldn't ruin her contract. She's fulfilling her contract to properly nurse the other child. Kamash Malan, we're still worried. Pascha Kim Ochelas Harbit. She gets a little food, she eats a lot. Mehecha, who pays for the extra food that she's supposed to eat? Amar Sheshes Mishalah. She still has to pay for it on her own, right? Because we assume whatever she's getting paid for nursing is worth a lot of money, and she's not going to lose that much money by eating a lot. She has to do it in the best possible way. You have to do your job in the best possible way. Therefore, she should eat more. She should have more milk for the child. She shouldn't eat bad foods. Kashus, what is kashus? I forgot what kasha. What did they say? Kashus is kasha. Hops. Like America calls it. Our school calls it. I have to check these things up on Google Translate. Kashus is hops. Chazis, sprouting grains. V'dagim tanim, small fish. V'adama, or earth. Bayam rafilu kara v'chavusha, even kara, squash, v'chavusha, quinces. I didn't pronounce that. Rafal rafilu kara v'kufra. Kara, the shoots of a palm tree, v'kufra. What is kufra? What do they say? Kufra is kufra, unripened dates. Ravashi amar filu kimcha b'harsana. Even this type of fish, these, I don't know, type of small fish, sardines, kimcha, milk products. Kimcha is like sour milk products, maybe like yogurt or something. Minayu paski chava, minayu achri chava. Some of these things, these aforementioned things, actually stop the milk from coming, and some of them actually make the milk not impure, and therefore it's not helpful for the child. So she shouldn't eat any of these things. She has to fulfill her contract. This is halacha and choshen mishpat. That she has to fulfill her contract that she made to the person who's paying her to do this job. That's the conclusion of today's shir. I want to talk today about the psak halacha, technically, of a woman who's nursing her child 15 months, 18 months, 24 months. What is the halacha? What does the Gemara mean by some of these interesting terminologies over here? Get to that in Yud Ben Sion coming up next.